Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film, The Last Stand. Is the feature film return of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now he is back in the American film debut of Korean director Kim Jee-woon, a sheriff in a small town who has to stop a Mexican cartel kingpin from coming through his town and escaping to Mexico after he has cleverly escaped from the clutches of the FBI, led by Forrest Whitaker. The sheriff and his ragtag group of deputies come and try to stop this evil drug lord from coming through their town and getting back to Mexico and generally being evil. When you have a foreign director and it's their big American debut, they are usually very visually constrained. It doesn't have the same feel as it did as the films in their home country, and that's certainly true with The Last Stand. When you think of other foreign directors who have made their American debut and not as successfully, when you look at John Woo's first American film, Hard Target, with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and even Francois Truffaut's Fahrenheit 451, they have a cool direction about them, but they don't really have the same feel and the same vibe. I don't feel as passionate about those directors as I did their previous works, and it doesn't feel to me they have as much passion and ingenuity and fun with those films. And I think Kim Jee-woon, even though this does feel a lot more restrained, whether that's because of financial restraints or the producers were trying to be too Hollywood or there was a language barrier, I'm not exactly sure, but within those restraints, Kim Jee-woon seems to be able to still make a fun American B movie, and one that's especially influenced by Westerns. I mean, you can see a Rio Bravo influence, very much kind of a Hawksian influence. I mean, he did Rio Bravo, but more than just a Rio Bravo, I think there's a Hawksian influence on this. You can feel a Peckinpah influence. Anytime there's a confrontation between Schwarzenegger and a bad guy, it feels like a standoff, like a shootout. The end shootout is very Peckinpah-esque. I think Kim Jee-woon made a better American B action film than I've seen from a lot of American directors. He's definitely a director who studies film and has referenced film in his films like The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. It feels like he sat down and really understood Westerns and understood American cinema before he made this. I haven't seen such an older Western influence on any movie of recent memory that's not an actual Western as much as I do with The Last Stand. And I kind of like his ingenuity through it. It feels like there's an actual theory behind it. Kim Jee-woon is directing this and organizing his shots and everything like it's a Western, even though this is a lot more restrained than his previous work and not as good as his previous work and not as well shot. He finds a way to get that to work for the movie in kind of a fun, cool way. And whatever movie he's making, he always has some funny action sequences. He always finds a way to make action fun and humorous, no matter how violent and how much blood's flying. And I think that works hand in hand with a Schwarzenegger movie. I mean, if you look at some of his better films like Total Recall, Schwarzenegger always finds a way to say a fun one-liner but also have an action sequence and have a joke at the end. And that really works well with Kim Jee-woon's style. It's almost like kind of perfect. I mean, certainly I wish this was as visually interesting as some of his films from Korea. I really got over that because I was having so much fun with this movie that it didn't really bother me. Schwarzenegger isn't in it as much as I thought he would. I mean, you look at the poster and it's Schwarzenegger and Johnny Knoxville, and Johnny Knoxville's barely in it, only at the beginning and the end, and Schwarzenegger isn't in it that much, and Forrest Whitaker's in it quite a bit. I don't have any problem with Forrest Whitaker, but I'm expecting to see a Schwarzenegger movie, and I'm seeing Forrest Whitaker, and I don't know if I like the Forrest Whitaker stuff as much. I mean, that kind of seemed to drag the running time on, and this film almost felt a little too long, cutting around to all these different plot lines that I wish it had just maybe stuck with Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger is not the greatest actor in the world. He's an actor, if you know how to use him well, he works, but you need to know how to use him. Cameron was really good at this. With a good supporting cast like Luis Guzman and Johnny Knoxville and Zach Gilford, all these actors seem to be able to balance out everything else that's going on in the film and carry the load. Johnny Knoxville is in the tradition of like Tom Arnold and Sinbad from previous Schwarzenegger movies, but he plays the role pretty well. This is Schwarzenegger's Western film, and it almost feels like his version of what John Wayne would do in his later roles. I don't know why he wasn't in as much of it as he was. I don't know if that's because he felt he couldn't do the stunts as well now or something like that, or they just, this was the script they had and that's what they went with. I just wish, you know, if you're gonna make such a big deal about somebody coming back, you should use them more. I don't think this is the best B action genre film I've seen recently, but it's a lot better than things like Jack Reacher and Gangster SWAT because I had fun, and it's not me laughing at it, I'm laughing with it, and it felt like it really got what it was for the most part. There wasn't a lot of stuff that I felt was like pushing it too too far. And even when I'm watching it, I knew certain things were going to happen. It felt very paint by numbers, but I haven't seen a paint by numbers action film that it was fine with being a paint by numbers action film and it was really good at it. And I think that's the thing about Last Stand. I was kind of surprised how good at being kind of a crap action film it was. A lot of times when you see crap action films and I'm excited for them and then I see them and like, oh, this is actually just crap. And The Last Stand seems to excel in its crappiness, but still like have a cool Western influence. Even though this might be the worst film I've seen from Kim Jee-woon, I still think it's a pretty good and fun and awesome genre action movie. And it's a good time, and a fun good time, and the kind of good time you expect from a Schwarzenegger vehicle. So if you've seen The Last Stand and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments, and subscribe if you would like to.